let's look at some of the differences between the experience of announcements on a subject homepage, where they are presented in this column on the right hand side, which is referred to as the announcement widget. So this is an abridged view of announcements that are currently visible to myself as a user in this subject site. So that means that students and staff will see these announcements as they're released, and the most recent appearing at the top, and they'll be able to read those. They can choose to open those announcements in full. So if they select the title, for example, it will open it on its own page. And if they've decided they no longer need to see this announcement again on the front page, you can dismiss this announcement from this view. It will not delete the announcement. Certainly students don't have the ability to delete staff announcements, but it will remove it from your individual view. You might think of this as decluttering, for example. So I'm going to dismiss this announcement. You'll see that it tells me it's dismissed it successfully. And this is going to be quite common practice for most users if an announcement no longer needs to be appearing there. So that's the way that the widget presents that content. You get that sort of condensed summary of the content here on the right hand side. You'll see that some of these announcements, for example, have hyperlinks in them, in some cases to other parts of the subject site, and clicking on those would take the user to those other locations, or hyperlinks to external content, etc. It's still interactive as such when it's sitting on the home page like this, but it is not viewing the announcement in its own separate page. Clicking on the title will do that for you, but the announcement widget itself will collect all of them as they are published until you decide to either dismiss them or looking at other options next to the drop down. This will depend on whether or not you're the author of the announcement or you're able to make changes to it. So students won't have the ability to edit announcements, for example. But academics in the subject site, convener, coordinator, for example, will be able to do a range of different things with announcements via the announcement widget on the subject homepage. So for example, if they wanted to open the announcement and make changes, they can edit it from here. If there's one announcement which is a priority item that needs to stay at the top of the list, the top of the view, you can pin it to the top and it will keep it at the top of your announcement widget view. So that is an individual setting that you can pin the announcement. You can delete the announcement if you are, again, the owner, so to speak, or the author. It can be deleted. It can be duplicated, at which point it's going to open the editor with a copy of the original announcement. It even says copy of here. It's currently a draft. So if you needed to duplicate an announcement for whatever reason, make changes, change the titles and then publish, it would create an entirely new announcement. So that can be done via the widget as well. But by and large, most users accessing announcements via the announcement widget on the subject homepage will be reading the announcement here, opening it in full potentially if there's more content involved, and dismissing the announcement once they're done. Opening the actual announcement tool itself, which we can do in a number of ways, either clicking on the title, Announcements. We could select the drop down that's next to it and go to the Announcements tool. You can also access the Announcement tool in full via the Communication nested menu, and teaching staff will also have their subject admin link at the top left, and if we scroll down to Communication tools, they can open the Announcement tool from here as well. They all go to the same place, and that is this view of the Announcement tool. Really, this is a dashboard view of all announcements that have happened within this subject, and teaching staff will be able to see current active announcements, draft announcements, so students won't be able to see a draft announcement, for example, and even announcements that have been deleted in the past. So if I scroll far enough, I might be able to see some deleted ones in here. Maybe on the next page. Let's have a look. or published. This one has a Panopto video embedded in it, for example. These have been dismissed, but I can still see all of the announcements that have ever been made in this subject site on this list. If in the case that they've been deleted, I'd still see the option here saying deleted, and I could recall my deleted announcements if I needed to. But this dashboard will give you a full view of all announcements that have been made within the subject, irrespective of their status. Whether they're published, active, visible to everybody, whether they have been dismissed, whether they've been deleted. All of those can be seen via the announcement tool, or you may want to refer to it as an announcement dashboard, but effectively it will give you that full breakdown. You'll also notice that you have the ability to select individual or multiple items from your announcement tool and then apply a bulk action like deleting those if you wanted to get rid of them. Even deleting them from this view would still allow you to recall them later if you needed to restore them, so to speak. If we have a look at more actions, you'll see we've got the option here to reorder the announcement items that are in this view. It also will give us an RSS feed link, so that might be of interest to people using RSS feeds. But given that announcements are received by students firstly within the subject site, then also as notification emails that they would receive, and if they're using the Brightspace Pulse mobile app, they also potentially will get push notifications from the app as well. So you may not find that there's a huge desire for RSS feed details for the announcement tool, as they receive them in a variety of other ways. You'll also see the restore option here as well down the bottom, and that's where you would be able to bring back deleted announcements and either have them either as draft or published again. So that is the distinction between looking at the announcement tool or dashboard or looking at your subject homepage where you have your announcement widget on the top right hand side, giving you that abridged, condensed view of announcement information that you have some individual control over. Every user has that ability to control how many of those they're seeing in them. And we can also collapse the widget, which effectively will stop us looking at any of the announcements so we can focus on other parts of the interface underneath. So that's the difference between the announcement widget and the announcement tool.